Yay! I made it. Thank you for your patience. I am a little bit later than what I said I was going to be. But I'm here. Hello, everyone. Judy King, coming to you live from my new home. Today's moving day, but I'm still here, showing up. Oh, which is why I'm a bit late, because shit was everywhere. As you can imagine, right? Hey, Donna, Mish, Lucia, oh, my girls, Jane, my queens. Woohoo! As you're jumping on, say hi. What was the best thing that happened today for you? What was something like magical that happened? Even if it wasn't a magical day, something inside of today was magical in some way, shape, or form. I bet you. For me, the magic is being in a home. Oh, we just spent 6 weeks in Noosaville, which was amazing, but it was a short-term thing, and now we are here for 12 months. Oh, thanks, Mish. Yeah, it is a real stretch for me to do it this week, but you know me, I like that. I like to push the edge. Curtis doesn't like it so much. Do you, babe?
That's like what?
Me pushing the edge so much.
No, I don't mind.
Okay, cool. Yeah, baby. Oh, thanks, Jane. Cool. Those old ones, they like to come up again every now and again, don't they? It's nice to notice them. The day was magic. Yay, Donna. Whoop, whoop. So, hey, how many of you like to really understand how your mind works and get better at training this? How many of you? Great, because really, that's what we're talking about today. I'm actually going to be diving into some of the key principles of NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. And really, you know, if you saw yesterday's, that would help. But if you haven't, like, NLP is the study of the mind. It's the study of excellence. It's modeling excellence. And ultimately how you can successfully create excellence in your own life by getting into this. And I became so intrigued with the mind and how it worked. With 23 years working in the health and fitness industry, traveling the world, coaching, developing, training fitness leaders in the industry, and it made me really curious. And of course, you know, back in Sydney, that was mostly in Asia, but back in Sydney, I had my own personal training studio, and I competed in Miss Fitness competitions at the world level, and I trained people as a personal trainer and in competition, and also just in health. And even way back then, you know, in my 20s, 20-something years ago, not 20-something, yeah, could be. Shh, don't tell anyone. But I was really curious as to why is it that I give someone this thing to do and they do it, and I give another person the exact same thing to do and they don't do it. I became really curious around that. And then years and years and years of working in the fitness industry, it just amplified my curiosity because of the industry and how it is and how people are in general. And which led me down the path of my own path of continuously wanting to grow and expand myself. And then moving into, you know, the mindset. And I you know, since my 20s, I also read Tony Robbins' Unleash the Giant Within, I think it was called. Unleash the Giant Within was probably one of the first books that I read. And, you know, a lot of Tony's work comes from his training in neuro-linguistic programming. And, you know, just for the record, nothing in NLP is actually NLP. It all comes from modeling excellence, people who are phenomenal at what they do in psychology, in sociology, in behaviorism, in hypnosis, looking at what they're doing and how they're doing it and developing a strategy from that so that other people can duplicate that and do that and get results with people. And it is really fast. And, you know, at the end of the day, my belief is mindset is everything. Mindset is everything. And every level you go to, there's the next level of challenges. New level, new devil. And so we have to consistently be doing the work on ourselves. And the way I explain it is it's like a spiral. And so we elevate, we evolve up this spiral of evolution, and we get to the top of that spiral, and then we go pop over there to the next level, and we start at the bottom again, and then we go up again. And it's that's the process. So there's always more work to do up here to achieve that next level. And so from my own experience, from talking and working with hundreds of entrepreneurs and also working with super high level, like 7-8 figure earners, you know, I recently went to LA and I was surrounded by 7 and 8 figure earners, and the key piece I took away from that was it all comes down to mindset. It's not about strategy. And that was what also woke me up to going, hey, Judy, this is your thing. This is what you do. This is what you love. This is what you're really, really good at. And I was consistently chasing the next best strategy. And it woke me up to applying what I teach and then sharing that as well. So here I am in my, been up since 6 a.m. packing, just chucked my jacket on, so, I'm actually in my yoga gear. But here I am. So, awesome. Hey, Pamela. New level, new devil. Yeah, it is everything. Love you girls. Thanks for being here. And if you are just jumping on, just share. Jess, it asked me if I wanted to bring you on the camera. Just share something. Where are you jumping on from? And so a lot of people say, and I've worked with lots of clients who have said this to me, and they say, you know what, generally I'm a positive thinker. And they may have been brought up to think positive. And thinking positive is one thing, however, it's not the whole picture. And what happens a lot of the time when we actually think we think positive, we actually don't, because all we notice is the self-talk that's talking ourselves out of maybe a negative state. And but there's so much else going on, and I explain it as it being like an undercurrent, and underneath the surface there's so much going on that you don't let anyone see, and you can't even see yourself because it's outside of your consciousness. And so being able to understand how you work, how your mind works, and this is what I love to do with my amazing queens in my programs, is I get them to really see what goes on in that undercurrent. Because we can operate over the top all the time and go, I'm a positive person. But actually, when you spend time and really look at your thoughts and don't just let thoughts pass by, and you really be the observer of every thought that you have, every single moment, from moment to moment to moment, if you're actually truly observing from moment to moment to moment what's going on up here, wow. And sometimes I do that. I give that exercise to people who I work with. I give it to you. If you think you're a positive thinker, actually go away and I just had a call coming through. Spend the time reviewing what's going on in your mind and write it down. Like, be aware, awaken to what's actually really going on. Because most likely this so cheeky undercurrent is running, and this is actually what's running the show. So even though you think you're a positive thinker, if you're not working with the undercurrent, the things that are running at the unconscious level that are outside your awareness, this will keep you where you are, no matter how positive you think, because there's incongruencies with what you're thinking and what's really going on underneath. Does that make sense? And so you can operate over the top. This is the thing that I say, operate over the top. You can pretend, you can ignore it, that it's not there. And guess what? That will only get you so far. So ultimately, one of the things that I'm going to be speaking on today is anchoring. And anchoring is so, so powerful to be able to shift your state. Have you ever been in a state that you just feel stuck in? Like, why bother? Can't be bothered. I have no options. Maybe procrastination. So anchoring is the tool that we teach in NLP to help someone shift out of a stuck state. I remember when I went and did my NLP trainers training, I'm really good at going into state. Ask my girls. When I need them to laugh, I can go into laughter and just change the mood. Get out of so serious and significant and dramatic about our stuff and laugh, I'm really good at going into state. And part of anchoring is eliciting states like happiness, laughter, power, confidence, motivation, all these different states that we've had in the past, and to go back and to remember a time when we've been totally motivated. Can you remember a specific time when you were totally motivated? So you go back to that time, float down inside your body, see what you saw, hear what you heard, feel the feelings of being totally motivated, right? just like that. Do you feel motivated right now? If you actually did what I was asking you to do, I just kind of went with that. Woo! I didn't even tell you what I was going to do. Or invite you to follow my instructions. Hey, Lee. Hey, Gabby. So I'm really good at doing that, right? And so at the NLP Trainers Training, one of the, basically what you do is you practice certain sections, you have to deliver and get feedback, be evaluated, and there's certain demonstrations like anchoring that some people have to do. And there's one person didn't do it the way that it was needed to be done. And so everyone kept calling me up to be the demo subject because I'm really good at going into state, and that helps to make it be even more powerful. And anyway, so one of the master trainers brought me up to demo it correctly. And so I was living in Bangkok at the time. I owned my apartment and I sold it. And we were moving literally across the street, Curtis and I in Brooklyn. And I had lived in that apartment for 6 or 7 years or something like that. And I built up, as we do, a lot of stuff. And I was like, I'm going to clean it all up and not take everything across the road. Well, did that happen? No, I procrastinated that. So it ended up going across the road and into the storage room. In Bangkok, there's a lot of living quarters for helpers. And so the living quarters that we had for our helper, she didn't live with us. She lived somewhere else, but it was a great storage room. So everything was like plonk into there. So she said to me, what is it? Is it something that you're procrastinating? I was like, I'm really procrastinating. I have been procrastinating for like a long, long time already, months and months, throwing out stuff that I don't need. And it's all sitting in the storage room, and it was meant to be sorted through like way before, wasn't. And so we did this technique, which is called chaining anchors, and it's perfect for moving someone in procrastination into being motivated. And it's a process where we actually touch, and because it's working with the neurology of the body. And I'm going to speak a little bit about that before I go into this. But she did the technique, and it was about me procrastinating, cleaning out my storage room. And what was so brilliant about it is because as human beings, we love evidence, right? We love to have evidence for something to be true. And especially as a coach, as you learn these techniques, like it's mind-blowing, seriously mind-blowing. You cannot even comprehend the things that you learn in an NLP training and how quickly change can happen. It is unfathomable. People just cannot comprehend it until they're actually there in it. And so even when you're in it and you're experiencing it and you see it, you doubt it because you're like, hang on a minute, like how can that happen that quickly, right? And so we want to see evidence and evidence for something to be true. This one blew my mind, and I was so convinced that anchoring is a powerful, powerful tool. And so I did the technique, went back to Bangkok. A couple of weeks later, it wasn't like instant, but a couple of weeks later, because I used to travel every other weekend, almost every weekend. And even after having Brooklyn, like literally 3 months after having her, I was traveling to Korea and all over the place. And I was home for the weekend, and I'm sitting on the sofa, and I said to Curtis, you know what? I'm going to go into the storeroom and start cleaning that up. And I went in there, and I was like a machine, and I was getting through it and moving through it and doing it and cleaning it up and tidying it up, and didn't do it fully, but I was so motivated to get it done. And I didn't even think, I hadn't even recalled, the thing that happened a few weeks before that until afterwards. And then I went, holy shit, this shit really works. Oh, I got goosebumps. Yeah, it's really powerful. And so, have you ever tried to change a bad habit consciously? Have you? Can be done. How did you go though? If you tried to change a habit consciously, going, I'm going to, on Monday, start exercising, or on Monday, I'm going to start going to the gym, or whatever it was for you. Have you tried to change something that wasn't working for you consciously by choosing it and then just consciously making the effort? I know I have many, many times. And when I do it consciously, it really doesn't work very well. And the reason being because we run all of our patterns, all of our program runs unconsciously. When you wake up in the morning and you go to your phone or you do whatever it is that you do, go to the toilet, whatever it is that you do, all of that, those steps, those patterns are unconscious. And it's been because you've done it a certain number of times over a certain period of time, which has developed now unconscious programming and patterning. Yeah, cool, definitely. Hey, Cal. Tried and failed over and over and over. Me too. Hell yeah. So it can be done. It does require a lot of effort. Like even me, just recently, I did 28 days of eating raw foods, and I was like, after that, I felt like not so great going back to eating normal food. And then I was like, I'm gonna keep doing what I was doing, and I didn't do it because I did it all consciously. So I just went back to my old patterns. So, and here's the thing, right? Part of what I want you to do is to really start to shift what's possible and shift your thinking. Because a lot of this is not known so well, it's really, what do I want to say about this? I just want to shift and change the way that you think. And I said this yesterday, I want to shift your perspective a little. I want you to start to think differently, okay? Because this is you coming into your power and looking at things from new, fresh eyes. So in the 50s, it was absolutely certain that the 4-minute mile could not be broken. Everybody knew. It was physically impossible, is what the experts said. It just is not physically possible. And so, however, someone either believed that they could, or they forgot that it wasn't possible, right? And Bannister broke the 4-minute mile. Now, not only did he break it, but 6 weeks later, Landy, an Australian guy, he broke Bannister's time. So because someone thought it was possible and they were bold and brave enough and badass enough to go after it and break it, then someone else thought, fuck, that's possible. And we're so constrained and in this limited world and limited thinking because of what everybody knows, everyone knows that X, Y, Z, or so there's beliefs that society have, there's beliefs that people have that you live with in your environment, in your culture, in your society, in your suburb, in your community, in your everything, that it's just not true. However, as human beings, we're actually highly suggestible. We take on other people's things. If we don't have the consciousness to say, hey, hang on a second, is that true for me? And how is that so? And actually question it or reject it and say, that is not true for me. So often I say that to people, that's just not true for me. Thanks for your opinion, that's just not true for me. So a belief and reality are two different things. So what's important to this, to what I'm speaking about as we dive into this, is that it's really important that firstly, you start to think differently about what you can do, and you start to think differently about what's possible. Who's excited? Who's excited? Give me a hell yeah. I mean, unlimited possibilities, truly. But to truly get that and truly embody that and truly believe that at a cellular level, that's where the work is. Hey, Lucy. So I'm absolutely crazy about this. I'm crazy about what's possible. I'm crazy. Like, I get to do this work with people every single day. I get to see the shifts happening like radically, like so fast, lightning speed. The change happens right in front of my eyes. The healing happens right in front of my eyes. It is fucking powerful. And it makes me so proud. And this is why I'm here sharing it, because more of us need to hear about this. More of us need to know about this. So if you know someone who needs to hear about this, tag them on this, because I believe in you. I believe in you. I believe in what you're capable of. I believe that you are so much more capable than what you're putting in and how you're showing up in the world. And I believe that you can have, be, and do anything and everything that you want, as long as you're willing to put in the work. Because it does take something. It does take a bit of blood, sweat, and tears and some effort. And it's never ever going to be easy, but it's really simple and it's really fucking worth it. Who's really, really willing and committed to do the work? And this is the thing, you know, there's the two sides of the court. I'm a tennis player. Started on the tennis court when I was 4 years old. My mum's still an amazing tennis player. There's two sides of the court. There's the wanting court and there's the committed court. So many times we're on the wanting court, where we want to change our life, where we want things to be different, where we want to be different, where we don't fucking tired of the stories and the things and the emotions and all the things of our life. However, we're actually not moving over into the committed court, where we're actually willing to do whatever it takes. To make change, it requires to be willing to do whatever it takes. Be willing to blow out your level of thinking that you have right now to see what's possible, to create what's possible, and do whatever it takes to get there and to do that. Ultimately, what I want for you is that you can actually blow through limiting beliefs, that you can blow through things that keep you stuck. Because how many of you stay stuck? You hide, you use procrastination, or you stay in the how? I don't know. Or you say, I don't know. Yeah? Do you do that? Have you done that? Donna? Are you there? You did that? Thank you, Cal. And you're a phenomenal coach, Cal. Kelly X Bala. Beautiful. Committed 1,000%. Oh, Lee, yes. Can't wait to see you in one of my trainings real soon. So, and why I love this so much is that when you can take back your power and you can own it and know that you're in control and be the one who chooses the life that you want, and you don't let all the things in the past determine what you do or what you don't, you know, or what you don't do. Like, I mean, to be honest, letting someone else decide is really easy. It's comfortable, it's known. It's like living life in the comfort zone. And that feels really good for a lot of people. And if you're happy there, and that feels really fulfilling and satisfying, amazing, keep doing it. But my guess is that it doesn't feel very fulfilling and satisfying and rewarding, and it sucks. And there's so much more that you want for your life, and it's time to fucking show up and step onto the committed court. With love, of course. All of this comes from love. So much love. Oh, Donna has had extraordinary results. Like Donna, when we first started talking, was just so in her story and so in the I don't know. And man, like how you've shown up, Donna, has literally blown my mind. Donna called me yesterday and she's like, hey, this is going to take 2 minutes. But, you know, I might not have really wanted to set goals before, but now I get it. And she smashed her goals, like smashed them. Oh, I'm so proud of you. You know, had success in her business, fucking like done things that's like tolerations that she's been tolerating for years and years and years, cleaned up. And it's still in process, but massive steps forward, massive transformation. Her relationship with herself is so much better. Her relationship with her partner is so much better. Like, this is what it takes. I've got goosebumps, you know, and this is the result, the effort that gets put in, the result is always tenfold, 100-fold even. So I'm insanely passionate about this because I don't want you to be sitting back going, oh, like, fucking, I have no choice right now because of COVID-19. No, fuck that. Question it. Question everything. You know, I mean, like even better be careful not to say that word. I already said it. But, you know, like even Queensland borders being shut for a while, you could still get in. But most people here, it's shut, you can't get in. But you could have. Just go online, fill out a form, say compassionate reasons, and you can still come in. it's just, there's always a way. I'm the most resourceful person on the planet, and I believe that there is always a way. When you are committed to something, you will do whatever it takes and you will find a way. So anyway, I'm going on a little bit of a rant, but I don't know about you, but I don't want to be at the age of 65 and go be there and look back at my life and go, you know what, the only thing I regret is fucking not showing up for myself and not being committed and just sitting back, being the victim of my circumstances and my life and of what I went through and what was happening in politics and what was happening globally around the world and blah, blah, blah. And all these years went by. I don't want to be that person. I don't know about you. Do you want to be that person? Or do you want to be the one that's like, fuck yeah, I made the most of my life. I showed up. I had the most amazing experiences. I connected with people. I put myself out there. I was on a constant and never-ending journey of growth and evolution. So, here's the basic premise. One of the basic premises the basic premise, let's say, of NLP is that all learning, all behavior, and all change happens at the unconscious level. And so, all learning, all change, and all behavior happens at the unconscious level. Interesting, hey? So, firstly, you all know that you have a conscious mind and an unconscious mind. Yes or no? Yeah, Kimmy. Whoop, whoop. So, usually you'll hear your conscious mind here, like it's in the front of the mind, like the front of the head. It's loud, it's analytical, logical, it's the one that makes the decisions, it's the one that comes up with the ideas. I want this, I want that. And the unconscious mind is usually heard somewhere in the back. Could be back right or back side or back. And it's usually a bit quieter. And as human beings, we've learned, actually when you were born, Brooklyn, up until kind of now, moving to 6 or 7, is mostly in her unconscious mind. From 0 to 7, 0 to 6, 0 to 7, we're just little unconscious minds running around, taking in, absorbing. That's how we're we just model everything. We hear something once and we say it, and it's like, wow, you just heard that once. But we just take it in at the unconscious level, and boom, we look at someone and we practice standing up, and we can't stand up, and we try again, and we're down, and we again. But eventually, after many times of trying to do it, building the strength, building the coordination, the muscles kind of learning what they need to do to be able to come together, to develop, to do the things to help you walk. It's developing that, and then eventually it gets it, and then you're able to walk. And then you don't need to think about walking, you just walk. And the conscious mind hasn't been developed yet, which is why, 0 to 7 is such an important period, because we're just little, those little, what do I want to say? Like a cloth that just sucks in all the water, like that. And it just sucks it all in. And then it does the thing unconsciously. As we develop our conscious mind, our ability to compare things and understand things and rationalize things and logically get things and make decisions about things, all of that, when we need time to develop that aspect of ourselves. But in the meantime, we've learnt language, we've learned how to talk, we've learnt values, what's important, right? If we didn't work out, Brooklyn wouldn't see fitness as a value, but she does, and she, we take her to her own fitness classes, so she knows that health is important. That becomes a value to her from very early on. Beliefs about money. She sings it, we're woohoo, I get excited about anything. She starts singing, I love money and money loves me. I love money. She did it today, and I was like, wow, that's so cool. Such a cool relationship with money. That's a belief that we are installing for her now. So we store all of our memories, we store all of our events, all of the things that have happened in our life, and we store them in the unconscious mind, and we store them in chronological order so that we remember what happened when we were 5 and what happened when we were 10 and what happened when we were 20. The unconscious mind stores it. It's like a filing cabinet. It's amazing. It does many other things as well. And the other thing is it keeps it there for you so you don't have to consciously remember all of that. Like, can you remember now, in this moment, your mobile phone number? Not anyone else's phone number, because I'm sure you probably don't remember anyone else's phone number these days. We were at the shop today and the lady said, what's your phone number? What's her phone number? As in my phone number. And Chris was like, I don't know. It's got lots of 3s and 1s in it, and that's all I know. So can you remember your cell phone number, your mobile phone number? No. Now, where was that number stored before I asked you? Because it wasn't in the forefront of your mind, was it? It wasn't here in your consciousness. It was stored in your unconscious mind. Woohoo! Unconscious mind is so awesome. It's so awesome. And so basically you weren't conscious of it in the moment until I asked you. And then I asked you, and then you brought it up out of your unconscious and you brought it forward into your conscious mind. Make sense? Most of the time, yeah, Lee. I get it. I totally get it. Me too. I'm like, what's my number? So every little bit of thing that you have actually learned, it's been delegated to the unconscious mind to store that. Like, remember when you learned to drive a car? Initially, I looked at my mum and I was like, man, I could drive a car. And I'm 13. It looks so easy. And then when you start learning, it's actually not so easy, especially when you're learning on a manual. And, there's so much to think about, and you've got to think about every single step consciously. And then you practice and practice and practice and practice. You get better and better and better and better. And eventually, now what happens? You get in the car and you don't even think about it. Or you drive, same route from work, A to B. You get in the car at home, you drive to work and you think, wow, far out, I don't even remember how I got here. Your unconscious mind is doing the work for you. It just knows where you need to go and you don't have to consciously think about it. So you just do it unconsciously. So cool, right? So this is how our patterns, all of our programming happens unconsciously, which is why when you're not doing the things that you want to do, a lot of that is part of just the programming and the unconscious patterns that have been installed there at the unconscious level. So to change that consciously takes a lot of effort and consistency. Like learning to drive a car, when you're consciously learning, which you are in the beginning, you can do it. It can be done, but it takes a lot of time and a lot of repetitions. So, however, when you actually make change at the unconscious level, it happens literally, boom, in a moment, like in an instant. It's far out. It's incredible. Like the story of me procrastinating cleaning up my storage room. And then that change, what happened is when we do the process of anchoring, it's like working with the neurological connections, anchoring a specific state and moving me through particular states to come into motivation. So that, and it's like done on the knuckles, can be done anywhere, but the knuckles is good, to actually make change at the neurological level. Because the neurons, the neurotransmitters, they're communicating. And it's like, the way that I explain it is that it's kind of like, if you go for a bushwalk, the other day I went walking National Park and I walked up to Hell's Gate and Kimi came with me and she was like, wow, years ago the path was not like this. Many years ago the path was not like this. Like, it wasn't as smooth and it wasn't as easy to walk along this section. And now it's easy. Well, this is what happens, right? When you're actually starting to walk a new pathway, initially it takes like, got to slice down the trees, and it takes a lot of effort, which is, when we do it consciously. And what happens is we've got to walk that path, to that be ingrained and to that be now new, like the neurons within the body. The neurons, the neurotransmitters bathe every single cell in the body and they actually communicate with each other. That, many times of doing something, it's like creating that pathway. And so we bypass that. Oh my God, we bypass it. We like accelerate it. Oh, it's so exciting. Oh. Who likes to achieve things faster? Who likes it faster? All of us, right? It's our conditioning. We want things faster. We wanted it yesterday. I want to wait. I want it now. I wanted it yesterday. So this is a really important premise to understand, and especially as we talk about anchoring, because we're making change, like bypassing, having to do this like many repetitions. It bypasses that, and we like cut through the forest, like boom, install new neurological connections that happen like that so fast. Someone who's really good at this is Tony Robbins. He does this technique, anchoring and submodalities, another technique that we teach in NLP, in his events. He utilizes these techniques, but he doesn't teach you what he's doing. He utilizes them to get you into a particular state, to feel really good, to do a certain thing. So for an example, the fire walk. He uses anchoring and submodalities, which is the subsets of the modalities: visual, auditory, kinesthetic, olfactory, gustatory. So our what we see, what we hear, feelings, taste, smells, and our internal dialogue is subsets of that. So it's like, anyway, I don't need to go into that right now. But he uses that, and he uses anchoring to put people into state, a particular state. Because think about it, if you're in a powerful state, will you do something? Will you move? Will you actually move yourself forward towards the things that you want? If you're in a powerful state, you will, won't you? If you're in a disempowered state, then you'll probably sit back on the sofa and you'll kick back, put on Netflix, or you'll, eat chips, whatever. And you won't do the thing that's actually going to move you forward closer, one step closer towards the thing that you say that you want. So he's genius at using this in a massive scale. And so when you do the firewalk, basically, how many of you have been to Tony Robbins' event? He plays loud music, cranking, upbeat, amazing music. He gets you to jump and move your body, right? So using the physiology, which is creating neurological connections, anchoring that, creating a peak state using music. Because how good does it feel when you have like a cranking song? It creates emotion, creates power, confidence, joy, laughter, fun, all of these emotions. And so then you move your body, music, auditory, feelings, the physiology with the body. And it's like, if you watched yesterday, I spoke about the NLP model of communication. Information comes in, internal representation, immediately coupled with our state, immediately coupled with our physiology, immediately coupled with our behavior. So he reverses that process, working the physiology, the state, and the internal representation, which then leads to our behavior. It's like, it can work both ways. And so when you come back, he anchors this many times throughout the day. That's an example of anchoring. Play the music, immediately everyone stands up and they start doing this. Come back the next day, music plays. What do? You get up, you stand on the seats, you start doing this. Everyone in the room's doing it. That's a classic example of anchoring, because anchoring is all about creating a new neurological connection with a peak state to ultimately change your state so that you're in a more of an empowered state. But the thing is, Tony Robbins doesn't actually teach you what he's doing and how he's doing it, so you can't necessarily create that for yourself after that. So you've got to go back for more stuff with him. Come train with me. I'll show you how to do it for yourself. I'll teach you. We'll break it all down. I'm going to teach you now. Some of it. We're going to do the ring of fire. So I want to talk about a little bit first about the neurological connections, okay? So the neurotransmitters. And so the like Deepak Chopra is someone who's phenomenal when it comes to this. And he wrote a book called Quantum Healing. And he said in that book that neurotransmitters touch every single cell in the body. And prior to that, it was believed, and this was like in 1986 or something, but prior to that, it was believed that the neurons were only in the brain. And so what's exciting about this is, and the other thing that actually he said was that the immune system, which is actually the unconscious mind's job, is to preserve your body. It has a blueprint of perfect health. It knows what it needs to do to keep you in perfect health, which is why you don't need a fucking vaccine. You don't need a fucking flu shot. You don't need to go and have XYZ to build blah, blah, blah. Like, your body knows what to do. Yes, fueling it with good food, healthy food, drinking, like fucking magic water, Kangen water, like doing all those things supports that. But you don't need to be like, oh my God, I'm going to get sick. I need to go and find this thing outside of myself to help me. No, you have it all within you. Your immune system is there for that particular reason, to help you fight off sickness, disease, like all this, like cleaning your hands and not touching and all that stuff. Like, it just makes me want to cry, because bacteria is good. Our body needs it so it can learn how to overcome it. That's what the immune system does. So, so he said that the immune system is constantly eavesdropping on your internal dialogue, that self-talk that goes on, because of the ability of the neurotransmitters to affect every single cell in the human body. Is that landing? Let me like repeat that again. Hey Viv, we are self-healing machines. Yes, Lee. Woo! Love it. Far out. This is so good. I'm so good. This is all landing for you. He said, Deepak Chopra said, that the immune system is constantly eavesdropping on our internal dialogue, that internal self-talk that goes on, right? Because of the ability of the neurotransmitters to affect every single cell in the body. So if your internal dialogue is going, I'm going to be sick, I'm going to get cancer, well, the immune system is eavesdropping on that. It's hearing that. Stop it. Stop it. Stop saying that. Which is why we're so powerful, and why people have been able to learn that they've got cancer and they've got 6 weeks to live, 6 months to live, or whatever, and they've been able to overcome it. Why? Because they believed that they could. And they would have taken some actions and did certain things to support their body to, access that blueprint of perfect health and recruit the immune system, recruit the unconscious mind to get on board with it and do what it does and do what its job is and do what it's there to do, to actually preserve the body, to heal the body. This is how powerful we are. Don't forget this. Through all of this stuff that's going on, so many of us have forgotten this. And we're like, almost forced. It's not, but it appears to be this forcing of, you got to do that, you got to have this thing, you got to have that, you got to have that. No, you don't. It's like, come back to trusting the power of your body. And what's exciting about this is that this is evidence for the mind-body connection. Yeah. No, Mish, you're not the only one. Let's enjoy the attention elements get. Yeah. Even Donna, Donna's created a rash. She's gotten rid of it. You're amazing. You're an amazing creator, Donna, and an amazing healer. See how powerful you are? See the evidence? So, yeah, I'm not going to go into the sciencey part. When you come to my trainings, I get to go deeper into, really how it works in terms of how the neurons communicate and, all that stuff and all the research that kind of goes into that. But Kylie Kilby, she knows. She's been there. Yeah, Mish Beatty. She's the queen. She's a healer. She's a healer. She's a healer. So proud of you, Michelle. You're amazing. So everything that's going on in your mind is possible to be transmitted. Everything. Which is why you've got to train this to focus on what you want. And we have approximately 80 to 90,000 thoughts every single day. And most of those thoughts are the same thing that you thought yesterday and the day before and the day before. So you're conditioned, again, you're running this unconsciously to look for the negative and to focus on the worst case scenario. And so what are you focusing on? You're focusing on what you don't want. And everyone's like, I've got anxiety. Well, no fucking wonder. You haven't trained your mind to focus on what you want. And then it's what's the word? Oh, I'm in flow. When I'm in flow, like I don't know, words just go. Self-fulfilling prophecy. But see, they come back as well. Self-fulfilling prophecy. If you focus on what you don't want, then you'll create it. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy that you will create what you don't want when you focus on it. We know it, but we don't not do it. It's crazy. So crazy. It makes me crazy. So ultimately, every single moment, whatever you're saying in here is communicating to every single cell in your body. Mind-body connection. So be careful what you think. All right? Every thought needs to be towards what you want and towards knowing and trusting that you can heal yourself and that you are, also capable and able to change your state in every moment, any moment as well. A lot of my clients, especially those with depression and trauma and things like that, they'll say, oh, I woke up and today was a bad day. I was in a bad mood when I woke up. And I'm like, it's just not possible unless you're conditioned to focus on seeing gloom when you wake up. So if you see gloom and you think about gloom and you have internal dialogue that is about gloominess, then guess what? You create that. It's not that you're an anxious person. It's just that you haven't learned and been trained on how to use your mind effectively to produce the successful results that you want. So, hey, come and do the work, right? Do the work. Do the internal mind training. It is training and it's a game. It's all a game. None of it's real. Who likes to play games? But sometimes we like to be so serious about it all and we get so in our head about it and we're like, oh, why do I keep doing this? It's like, hey, like we are so funny when we just do that. Anyway, I'm like going ranting here. But so, okay, one of the interventions, one of the things that we use to create change at the neurological level is the anchoring. And so, as I mentioned before, it's a great technique to be able to move someone from a stuck state of why bother, apathy, or I don't have any options here. Oh my God, I'm stuck, I don't have options, or procrastination into motivation. So would that be good if you could learn something that could help you to actually get out of waking up and being in a bad mood and it being like a bad day because you woke up in that gloominess, to actually be able to have the responsibility to shift that in a moment? Would that be good? Hell yeah. Woohoo! Hell yeah. Hell yeah. So ultimately, anchoring is a process of stimulus response. And so, there's been lots of, William Twitmeyer was someone who kind of, really was the first one back in early 1900s. And he was a medical doctor and he realized that when you hit a patient on the knee, that then with a little hammer, the knee jerk reflex. So he wrote a paper about the knee jerk reflex, but it didn't go anywhere. And then further down the track, Pavlov was a guy who had read, researched the knee jerk reflex, and he worked with dogs, and he was practicing this technique of similar thing, right, which is anchoring. And when you hit the knee with the hammer a couple of times, then the knee will reflex, right? It will jerk. But then what Twitmeyer realized was he would just go, it's like the suggestion of going to hit the knee, and even before hitting the knee would jerk. And so this is an example of anchoring and a stimulus response. We even do it even before the thing hits. So Pavlov was doing research with dogs, and he realized that he had a little ding, a little bell, and he would have meat, and he would ring the bell. Dogs would come and they would see the meat and smell the meat. And so again, it was building this stimulus response of when you hear the bell, you come and you get to have the meat, have the steak. And so eventually he noticed that all he needed to do was ring the bell. Even if he had no steak, you know, they would have been able to smell that as well. So there's that. That even if the steak was not there, they would salivate and they would respond in the exact same way, even when the steak was not even there, because it's this process of conditioning of this stimulus that leads to us responding in a certain way. Pretty cool, right? And this is what happens. Like, this is how everything that we do is in a pattern. It's in a process, a structure, a strategy, a step by step. Every single thing that we do, even like how you get out of bed in the morning and what you do after that, and every single thing, how you love, how you hate, how you do business, how you receive love, how you don't receive love, how you make friends, how you don't make friends, like every single thing, how you make money, how you don't make money, all that. It's a strategy for how we do it. It's a step by step process. And so within that, there are a lot of anchors that are developed through stimulus response. And so let's say, for an example, today, how many anchors do you think that you were subject to within your day where there was a stimulus and then you responded in a certain way? How many do you think? And can you tell me what is an example of something that is an example of what I'm talking about, which leads to you responding in a certain way? What do you reckon?
Hell yeah.
I'll give you one to start with. Did any of you have an alarm clock set for you to wake up this morning? I did. I usually don't need it because I've developed this anchor, so I wake up before it goes off. I'm usually waking up just like thinking about amazing things that I'm going to create and do, and so it's like I'm awake. But it's way like either really earlier or 5-10 minutes before. So an alarm clock, the sound of the alarm clock is the stimulus. Our response is time to wake up. And what happens over time of having that set the same time every single day is we develop the same thing. It's like an anchor that tells us it's time to wake up. And we will then start to do it before the alarm goes off. Classic example of what I was just saying. Yeah, but was awake before. Cool, Mish, amazing. What about any of you drive to work? Did you drive to work? If you drove to work, then you would have had to probably stop at a red light. Do you think a red light, stopping at a red light, is an anchor? You see something, you respond, time to stop, and you stop. When you see the green light, again, that means green, time to go. So it's a stimulus response. It's an anchor. This anchor's like advertising slogans, advertising campaigns, hearing the radio, putting the, like there's anchors like throughout the day. There's many anchors. They can be visual, they can be auditory, they could also even be feelings or a smell. If you smell croissants, does that make you saliva? Or if you think about salt and vinegar chips. So that's basically what anchoring is. And how it works is, well, someone needs to be like, the best way that it works is anytime someone is in an intense and associated state, like what I mentioned before with Tony Robbins and music playing, and you're feeling all of this like peak ecstasy, high energy, upbeat, inspired, motivated, whatever it is, then if we were to apply a specific stimulus at that time, then the two of those things get linked together neurologically at the neurological level. So it happens best when it's happening in real life. It's like a real experience. It's happening in the moment. So if I was to say something that was really, 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 really funny and you were to fall down laughing, and then I could apply a specific stimulus to you, it would anchor that state for you. Pretty cool. Let's say I was to anchor it on your knuckle here, and then what we do in the NLP training is we build a resource anchor. And so we actually keep building on top of that specific point when you're in an intense physical state, intense associated state, then we continue to build on top of that. And then we can recreate that as well. So another powerful way to do it, and we do that a lot in the training as well, and we're going to do it in a moment, is actually recalling a associated intense state. So remember what I did before? Can you remember a time when you were totally motivated? Go back to that time now. And so it's recalling a time when we were totally motivated and going back to it and anchoring that. And we build what we call a resource anchor. I have a friend who we did this with. He's someone who was really scared about speaking, and he would get so nervous and just be like in a disempowered state. And he built a resource anchor. And now every single time, if that comes back of him feeling nervous and being in his disempowered state of his response of what he used to do, all he needs to do is to touch where the anchor is. Let's say it wasn't here for him, but that's okay, just so it's clear. He would touch here, and it would reassociate back into all of the states of confidence and power and control and motivated and him like going after it. And it would bring him out of that nervousness and get him back into his power. Super cool. So cool. So we're going to do not actually with a physical stimulus anchor here. We're going to do it visually. And actually, I will get you to make a fist as well. So it actually will create a stimulus response. But if you are standing up and you're in a spot where you can actually stand up and do this standing, I highly recommend that. So what's going to happen is I'm going to help you to recall a specific state, like for an example, totally motivated. And you're going to follow my instructions, and you're going to do everything that I'm asking you to do, and you're going to go back to that and reassociate in that state of a time when you're totally motivated, as an example. And you'll probably see an internal representation of what you were doing. So for me, one of the ones that's really easy for me to access is when I was in Vietnam and I was training to be on the DVD again. I'd been injured for months, and I was so fired up, like so motivated to get back into perfect health and ready and strong enough to film Body Combat 50, which was a really big deal to be invited to, and I wanted to be at my best. And I have this like incredible picture of me running on the treadmill at the gym that I would train at right next door to my apartment, and I'm just like in the zone. And so I can bring that one up, and I see the picture, and I see me and I can see just like me in that, totally motivated, and I can feel motivated. Like right now, even look, you see my color changing. I'm like getting a little bit red because I'm like, oh, fuck yeah. So you're going to go back to that state, and what happens is, that's that going back to that, creating that internal representation causes me to have and feel that emotion, that particular state, and it impacts my physiology as well. And when I feel that, when you're at the peak of that, or just before you're at the peak and you feel that like really coming up, you're actually going to then do something. And the key with this is that you actually do this process while you're in the peak of the state. So let's say I'm thinking and I'm feeling this emotion of, or I see myself, and I'm in it back in that time when I was on that treadmill, and I'm like feeling motivated. And as I feel that motivation coming on, I'm actually going to step forward, if I was standing doing this like you will be doing it, into an imaginary ring of power. So I want you to imagine you have a ring of power. It can be like on fire, it can be any color that you want, it can be purple, it can be whatever color you want it to be. And that's on the floor, on the ground in front of you. Now, if you're sitting or you're driving or something like that, I don't know, you might want to do this while you're not doing that. But if you're in a situation where you can't actually physically stand up and step into the ring of power, then you can visualize yourself stepping into it. That will work as well. Won't be as powerful. And so you're going to actually physically step, when you feel that yourself is in that motivated state, or just before you get into it, you step into the ring of power. And you stay in there. And you stay in there, feeling that total motivation. Right? For like 10 to 15 seconds, staying in it. And then if you start to lose it or come out of it, then you step out, like right before you start to lose it. So you're still in that peak state. The key is the timing with this. You've got to make sure you stay only in the ring of power when you're in your power. If you're like, I'm not feeling it anymore, and you're still in the ring of power, no, don't do that. Okay? You've got to be in the ring of power only when you're in the peak period of feeling that state again. All right? And we're going to anchor it in there. So you'll step in and then you'll actually step out again. As I said, step in the ring of power when you're in the state. Right before you come out of it, step out. Okay? And we're going to do this and we're going to build. This is phenomenal. Hey, Curtis, your ring of power is pretty awesome, isn't it, babe? Your ring of power. Your ring of power.
What about it?
It's pretty awesome, isn't it?
What, mine?
Yeah. Remember when we did an NLP training?
Yeah.
And Brooklyn's like, what about mine? So, like I explained before, of when you're in a situation when nervousness or you're just not in your power or you woke up and you're in a bad mood and you're like having a bad day or whatever it is, that the only thing that's going on is in your mind, you're focusing on the bad thing or the not so good thing or what you don't want. So when you have developed this, it's a resource anchor I'm helping you develop right now. When you have this ring of power, it's a strategy, a tool that enables you to imagine your ring of power, and then anytime you want, you can step inside it. So you could like even shrink, after we do it, you can shrink down your ring and you can put it on your finger. Anytime you need it, you just take it off and you just bring it out in front of you and you step into it and it reactivates all of those feelings of you coming back into your power. So good, like so good. All right, you ready? We're gonna stack 4 emotions. 4 emotions. So I want you to stand up and your ring of power is out in front of you. Imagine that ring of power right out on the floor in front of you. So, wow, 6:12. Wow, time flies. Great. So, you're going to now, can you remember a time, we'll start with motivation. Can you remember a time when you were totally motivated? Can you remember a specific time? It's got to be a specific time when you were totally motivated. As you go back to that time, to that specific time when you were totally motivated, float down inside your body, see what you saw, hear what you heard, feel the feelings of being totally motivated. And as you reach that peak state, step into your ring of power. Feel the feelings. You were totally motivated. What was going on inside your head as you were totally motivated? Was there anyone else there? What was your posture? What were you saying? What did you sound like as you were totally motivated, going after what you wanted? Be in it. That's right. Then when you come out of it, or just before you come out of it, step out. Step out of the ring of power. Good. Clear the screen. Woo! It's that easy. It's that easy. Amazing. How was that? Do you want to do it again? You can do this as many times as you want. Just keep stacking it on top. Another one, another one, another one, another one. Okay, next one. Can you remember a time when you were in total certainty and confidence of yourself? You were absolutely certain and confident Have you got a specific time when you were so certain and so confident? And as you go back to that specific time now, float down inside your body, see what you saw, hear what you heard, feel the feelings of total certainty and confidence. That's right. As you feel that, step into your ring of power. Like you just knew. You could feel it in every single ounce of your body. You just knew. It could have been a sensation, a feeling. It was like voices in your head that was like, yes, this is for me. This is what I've got to do. I know this. Absolute certainty and absolute confidence in knowing that this was for you. This was the thing that was right for you. Yes. Good. Step out of the ring of power when you're ready. We're building our ring of power. Yeah, if you're just jumping on, you might need to go back a little bit. Hey, Tiana. Woo! All right, cool. Awesome. I love this next one. Told you I'm good at this one, and you're going to be good at it too. Trust. Go with me. All right. Can you remember a time when you totally fell down laughing? Can you remember a time, a specific time when you were laughing out loud? Go back to that time, float down inside your body, see what you saw, hear what you heard, feel the feelings of total laughing out loud. Step into your ring of power. Oh, my tummy hurts. All right, gosh. Ooh. All right, step out of it. Oh, jaw hurts when you laugh that much, you know? I have so many times I can just drop into of like times when I've been with friends at events, at different things I've been doing. I like to laugh. It's a good state. It's a really juicy state. And we don't laugh as much as we don't laugh enough, do we? Okay, one more. What do you want to do? How about love? When you felt totally loved? Yeah, okay, let's do this one. Hey, Kathy, go back and watch it a little bit earlier, babe. So, okay, last one and then we're going to wrap it up. So can you remember a time when you felt totally loved? Could have been loved within yourself or loved by somebody else. When you felt totally loved, can you remember a specific time? And as you go back to that time now, float down inside your body, see what you saw, hear what you heard, and feel the feelings of total love. When you feel that, step into your ring of power. Totally loved. What was going on around you? What was soft within you? What did you feel inside your body? How was your posture? How was your stance? How was your voice? What was the look in your eyes? What was the look that you were receiving from somebody else as you felt totally loved? Amazing. Step out of that when you're ready. Cool. So now one more thing. So that's 4 states that we've stacked on top there. Now the key with this, when you keep building it and you have to use it. You've got to use it. Otherwise you lose it. So if you keep building on this and building new states, so if you're in a really powerful state, you can put your ring of power out there, imagine it there, step inside of it. When you're like going after it and you're in your power and you're ready and you're taking action or you're just confident or you're motivated or you're inspired, whatever it is, you can do that in the moment. As you're associated in that state, keep building on top of it. And then anytime you need it, put your ring of power out there in front of you and step into it. Can you do that for me? For you? For me and for you. Mostly for you. So that you can remember that you are in control of your state. Because people say to me, hey Judy, I just want to be happy. And well, actually you can choose to be happy in this moment. How? By what you focus on. By bringing back an event when you were so happy, totally happy. You can do that now if you allow yourself. Right? Because you're changing the internal representation. When you think of a time when you were totally happy, you're changing this. And therefore that leads to the state and the physiology and then the behaviors. So we've just got to train our minds to be able to be more in that from moment to moment every single day, right? Yes, Donna, totally. But actually doing it for real, like not just putting it on, you know, like for an event, but actually, yeah, using that, stepping into character or being something or doing something in a certain way. I don't really know theatre all that well, but that it becomes who you are, the new state of being. Yeah? You're in control. No one else can. You know, Brooklyn says, you make me sad. We say, we didn't make you sad. You're choosing that right now. Might sound a little bit harsh, but we're teaching her, installing the belief that no one makes you sad. You're choosing to be sad and your experience is sad, and that's okay. But don't tell. Everyone's trying to call me. I think it's time to go. I have a coaching call in like an hour. We need to eat. I got some more unpacking to do. How was this experience for you? Quickly, one word, drop below. What was your biggest takeaway from today? I'd love to know. Oh, you're welcome, Tiana. Thanks for being on, beautiful Gil. Thanks for being on, Lee, and staying on. It was a long, very long today, but it was totally worth it. I'm going to jump off, but drop in your biggest takeaways, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Stay tuned tonight for what time I'm going to be going live tomorrow, and see you soon. Love you.